Hey everyone, this is Steve Schmid with Simple Pump Company. Today what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to remove the LBLD drive. This one right here is a WR, or the weather resistant version. The only difference between this and our non-weather resistant version is that these three bolts here are on the backside. So everything we do today will work for either one of those models. So let's get started. All right, so the tools that are going to be required for this job, we're going to need a couple of crescent wrenches so that we can disconnect the rod extension from the standard pump rod. You don't need a safety tool for this particular step, but I've always got it. You're going to need a 5/16 Allen for the clevis on the LBLD. You're going to need a 3/16 to be able to remove the 1/4-20 bolts from the back of the plate. I use a ratchet, or a ratchet to do that, so I'll use that with these. And then you'll need a 9/64 to pull the smaller bolts that hold the cover on. So these are the extent of the tools that you're going to need to have in order to remove the LBLD, as well as put the handle back on. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the handle off, or the cover off, and that's just 6 bolts. What I would suggest you doing before you start this process, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to disconnect the power. Even though we do have the dry switch is shut off, I always like to make sure there's no power running so that it's a lot safer. There's moving parts in there. We want to make sure nobody hurts themselves. All right, so the cover's done. We'll go put this over here. The next thing you'll want to do is we'll want to loosen these clevis bolts here so that we can pull the system up and off of the pump head assembly. Okay, once those are loose, you can see here this is now spinning freely. We will then get our 3/16 here, and we will remove the bolts that hold the drive on to the pump head. All right, now we have all 4 of those bolts out. You want to loosen these so that as you're bringing the system up, they can move a little in case you're pulling it up not straight, and they won't get bound up. Should make it a little easier to pick up. Because it's loose in there. There we go. Sometimes get a little bind right here on the clevis. So you just got to kind of jiggle it a little bit. So now we've got our drive off. We'll go put this to the side. All right, the next thing we'll do is we will remove the pump rod extension. Remember, this is left-hand threads, so to loosen, it'll be like you're tightening. All right. So we'll go ahead and remove that. So now you're back to your standard pump head assembly. The LBLD is totally removed. And now if you need to go on to the next step of your uninstallation, if you're removing the pump or whatever, then you can move on to that next step. All right, so thank you very much for your time, and please don't forget to subscribe.